is going on, guys? We are here to bring you another episode of the Mandalorian Season 3 recap.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Logan, and I'm here with my boy Dylan.
What's happening, everyone? Nice to be here again.
Yep. So today we're gonna recap episode 2, titled "The Mines of Mandalore."
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so Dylan, tell me, what did you think of this episode?
All right. So the general feeling, I want to start by saying this: every scene in this episode is beautiful. I think it is the most as an episode as a whole. It is the most complete visual masterpiece of the series. That's what I will say.
Of the series,
Of the
really?
series, this is my favorite shots of the show, complete as an episode, because there's some beautiful shots in the other episodes. Like any given episode, they all look pretty good. This completely is my favorite looking episode in the entire series.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful episode. Do you have a rating for it?
I have a couple gripes with it, but I think it's easily a good episode, like a very good episode. This is probably like a
Yeah.
B plus A minus in terms of a Mandalorian episode. So I'm gonna give it a 8.5. 8.5, like
Eight and a
general
half?
feeling, like
Okay.
coming into it.
Solid.
Um,
Um,
yeah. Let me know what you're feeling right now.
I think for me, the visuals were fantastic. But what I really enjoyed about the episode is the Mandalore lore. You get
Yes,
a
sir. Preach.
lot of history in this one episode about the fall of Mandalore, what it used to be. A lot of different things, especially at the very end. You see some legendary shit.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
absolutely.
so for me, I gotta give the episode. I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a 9.
A 9.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
You don't
And it
use
might just
decimals, do you?
because last episode was, I do, but not in this case. I'm gonna give it a
It's a
solid
flat
9.
9, flat 9 all around.
It's a flat 9, flat
Okay,
9.
I
But
got you.
after last episode's a little underwhelming start, I this one definitely redeems it.
The
Because
general
I went into
reaction.
this thinking it was going to be a side mission, but this was main quest storyline.
Absolutely. And the general feeling I've gotten from other people around the web is that some people love this episode, some people hate this episode for some
Hate
reasons.
this episode?
Yeah, someone not
How-
hate,
How
but
do you hate it?
they knock on it. They knock on it a good amount. For a couple of the small, I think they're small problems that we'll get into later on. But generally, this episode has kind of got some mixed reviews. But we are definitely on the love side of this.
Yes.
I mean, this is
Yes.
great. I know I talked about the Mythic Force last episode and how much I love that stuff. Lore for like Mandalorian, any faction really, Mandalore especially. I love that shit, and you get a spoonful of that this episode, a hefty spoonful, I should say.
Oh yeah, keep giving it to me.
Gotta love that lore, baby. But yeah, we're definitely on the love side of this episode, and it is absolutely beautiful.
All right, do we want to get in the recap?
Yeah. We'll get into the recap right now. I believe we start. Where do we start on this one?
We start in the fireworks scene.
Like, oh no, we start on Tatooine. No, yeah. Follow our TikTok if you haven't followed our TikTok. That shit's pretty fire. Shameless plug,
Juice
real
Bros
quick.
YT.
Yes, sir. We had just posted something. We we hate Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine is not. We don't enjoy it. I can't honestly think of one good redeeming quality that Tatooine has. And as a wise man once said, I hate sand.
Yes, sir. And for some reason, on a desolate planet in the middle of the Outer Rim, 50% of Star Wars like story-driven plot starts here on Tatooine for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but
it's just a boring planet.
It's Sand.
Sand.
So we come back to the mechanic. I forget her name every time we come to her.
It's Pelly.
Pelly. Oh yeah,
Pelly,
I
yeah.
got this right in front of me right now. I don't know why I said I didn't know.
Pelly Moto, baby.
She's the biggest scam artist of all time. She's a hustler. Honestly, I respect the hell out of this shit.
Oh yeah, she's a swindler, bro. She is
she gets
a
after
swindler.
So she's scamming some dude on his speeder bike that she had some Jawa strip before before we had gotten to this point. And it's a great scene. It's pretty funny. You know, any scene with Pelly in it is decently like you got a few chuckles out of it, and you can't really complain too much about the scene. It's just good comedy relief.
Did she lose a tooth?
Did she?
Did she lose a tooth?
I feel like she was always missing one.
No, I cannot. That's what I thought, but then I started to have second thoughts. I don't remember if she has always had a tooth missing.
Well, for the viewers right now, there would be something on screen showing a comparison, so you'll be able to know, unlike us in the moment right here, if she is now missing a tooth or not.
She's missing a tooth because I'm looking at a picture from earlier seasons, and she has all her teeth.
Really?
Yeah. So I think she's missing a tooth.
I don't know if that's like that has to be editing, right? This has to be on purpose for some reason.
The actress just lost her tooth and never got it replaced.
Oh, yo, I know we said this while we were watching the episode, but I didn't even realize this when I was first watching it. She just starts spitting Jawanese out of nowhere, and it was like fluent. It caught me off guard this second watch through.
I think was the first time I've ever seen someone that wasn't a Jawa speak their language. Yeah, that caught me off guard. I didn't notice it the first time I watched, but second rewatch, I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, that it was it was interesting. All right, guys, so we're back. Logan, continue with what you were saying. Our Discord call kind of messed up there for a minute.
Yeah, so when we were watching, Boba and Fennec are on Tatooine, and I'm not sure what city they're in. I think we're in Mos Eisley.
Yeah, I think
or Mos Espa. It's
Isley.
One of those two. But when the fireworks are going off, I was just thinking about the two of them, like just huddled in Jabba's freaking hut or whatever, just sitting there listening while the fireworks are going off.
Oh, just having a hard ass pose.
Yeah, that or they're having PTSD or something. They're both in wars and shit.
It's another thing from episode 1 where they just transition really badly. I mean, they drop this little thing about, are you here for Boba or whatever? I don't know exactly what she says, but it doesn't really give you much to go off of. This is probably one of the small gripes I have in this episode. Just
yeah, I don't know. I saw people saying like if they were going to mention it, why not like have Boba appear in the episode? But like, I don't think they need Boba to appear. I mean, it's because why would another main character of another show appear in another main character's show? That's never been done before.
Yeah, no. I don't think they needed Boba at all. No, it was definitely
all
right that they just kind of dropped that. So it was a small scene in Tatooine. We talked to Pelly for a little bit, and Din gets his new droid. They kind of throw the IG thing that we were worried about last episode to the rear view for now. At least I feel like they're coming back to this. But
yeah, they said that they had no room. Mando said that he had no room in his ship to take on the astromech. But then he takes on the astromech anyway. So what, did they just leave IG-11 with Pelly?
IG's still back on Navarro. I think he came to her to look for the part that he needs from the Jawas.
I thought they brought him. I thought they brought IG-11 with him.
Yeah, no. But basically, all that work they did on that ship, they reversed it in 2 seconds to be able to fit an astromech again.
Which was the smarter idea. I mean, mind you, this astromech is a piece of shit.
He's actually he's a big callback. He's returning droid, R5D4, I think it is. He's got some lore behind him, I believe.
Where is he from? Because I've also seen that this is not the first time that this droid has appeared, but I can't remember
Well, she
where else he was in.
she dropped the information that he has served in the rebellion before, and so I guess he's part of the OT in some way.
Huh? Yeah, we're gonna have to rewatch that because I can't for the life of me remember where I've seen that specific astromech.
He's in Lego sets and everything. I believe. I believe he's somehow a big part of everything. So he's
Interesting.
definitely a big cameo for some reason. But he's a coward. He's a big coward.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a droid like visibly like not want to do what they're made to do. Like he is pushing back against Pelly. He's making his little beeping noises, and every time she's like, "Oh yeah, no, be adventurous. You got it." He don't want any part of that.
Yeah, everyone tries to hype him up, but he wants to. Honestly, that'd probably be me in the Star Wars universe because overall, the Star Wars universe is terrifying.
Horrible. It's horrible. I would never want. I like Star Wars. I like to fantasize like about like being in the universe, but really, there's nothing good about
if you're
being
not
in
the
the
main
Star Wars
character,
universe.
if you're not the main character, it's gonna be a rough time.
No, even the main characters don't get spared.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
They get plot armor. I mean, that's a good thing.
let me be a very rich senator in Coruscant, and let me just live above all the people that live below, because that's the only place that I could see it being like, all right, like this isn't too bad.
Yeah, no, that's just a normal city. If you're a rich noble, I should say.
Yeah.
Immediately from there, we thought this whole episode was going to be a side quest for IG, but we're moving right to Mandalore, baby. We're getting into the meat and
Let's
potatoes
go.
of what we want to see this season. There's a little scene, probably one of maybe three of my favorite scenes in this episode. I don't think it's my favorite. It's either two or three, but Mando is explaining some Mandalore culture to Grogu on the way to Mandalore, on how to find your way in the universe, where Mando's from, just dropping as much knowledge to his son as possible about their culture.
Yeah, because he said he was from because I don't know how many moons are around Mandalore, but I know Bo-Katan's on one of them. I
Yeah,
can't remember the name of that one, but
I
the
had
one that Mando's from is Concordia.
yeah, no, I had thought the castle was on Concordia last episode.
No, it's the other one.
Yeah, it's called
Was
Calavio,
Concordia
I
where
think.
Death Watch was?
I can't honestly. I think so, and it would make sense because he was saved by Death Watch in the beginning of the series, and it shows him being saved by Death Watch. So it would make sense if it was on
It was on
Concordia.
Concordia. Yep, Death Watch was they stayed on Concordia.
All right, so that's a good consistency thing for they got going for Mando right now. So he's from Death Watch's origin planet, and Bo's castle is on Calavia, if I remember the name. Him saying it during this episode, I picked up on that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what significance her moon has to the overall story, but it's a cool planet, and her headquarters that we saw last episode, and even some of this episode,
Yeah,
is just what a beautiful castle.
it looked like it was a pretty empty planet, other than the fact that it was like her family's like ancient like home, I guess, and she's pretty much the last of them. But it's
Yeah.
it's pretty much just like it's that whole moon is pretty much hers.
Yeah, she's the only one there. All her people left her.
Yeah, if you don't get the
Not
dark
bad,
saber,
really.
you ain't shit. So Mando explains all of this to Grogu and tells him that you need to know your star maps to never be lost. And that is kind of part of Mandalorian culture, is knowing where you're going at all times.
That scene was, when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, that's good to know. But then, like, later on, and we'll get into it, but Grogu literally uses like what Mando taught him about 15 minutes later.
Yeah, no, I think this is very purposely set in here, and it makes a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
sense. So um, it's not a bad thing. But yeah, so yeah, Grogu definitely learns about his star maps. He learns his sense of direction.
I
Um,
noticed this, but when Mando's talking to Grogu about Mandalore, he says we. He uses we. Like he's basically saying that Grogu he's a Mandalorian.
he is a
He is
Mandalorian.
his son,
He picked the chainmail.
and he's a foundling. Like it's so cool. And Grogu, my God, what a cute little freaking
Cute
thing.
little
I don't even
guy.
know what he is.
Cute
I
little
don't even
guy.
know I don't know what his species is called. I don't want to say Baby Yoda because that's what everyone calls him. But
Yep. I don't
he's
know
a
if
lot more
they'll.
vocal this season. He's way more vocal.
He's starting at 50 years old. He's starting to learn how to talk, and it's crazy.
Oh, he's got. Okay, yeah. So we had some technical difficulties there for a second, but we were talking about Grogu's age. In season one, he was, I believe, 50. Season two, I can't remember when he gets. It wasn't it
Season
Ahsoka.
one. Season one.
I can't remember who had said how old he was. I could
Um,
have sworn it was Ahsoka.
I think it was said in season one by a droid or something that had like approximated his age. So I think he was
Yeah.
50 at the time of season one.
Okay. Yeah. So now he's about 53 because there was a time jump. Because he trained with Luke
For 2 years. About 2 years.
for 2 years. Yeah. I don't know how long the actual events of the Mandalorian have taken place over, but we'll just say he's 52. So he's starting to learn how to talk. He's really cute when he does it. Um, Grogu had a lot of highlights in this episode.
Yeah, they really showcase kind of what he's learned a little bit,
He's
just how he's
smart. He's so
developing.
smart.
Yeah, how he's developing. Um, I don't know if this is a hot take, but by the end of the series, I think the Mandalorian, the title, I think Grogu is the Mandalorian.
Well, yeah, because they're gonna kill off Din. So,
Yeah, next episode, guys. Stay tuned.
yep, yep, he's done. The Mandalorian is now Bo-Katan.
Nah. Grogu's gonna take the dark saber and kill Bo, and from there he's gonna retake Mandalore, and he's gonna unite all the clans and everything, all that.
He will do what everyone else couldn't.
um. So after the star maps and everything, we actually go to Mandalore. What we've been waiting for this entire series, and it's crazy coming through. There's a lot of turbulence because the planet has been absolutely glass. The Empire did not hold back, and they show you that this entire planet is wrecked. There's nothing here. It is crystal. It has been turned to crystal from the bombing.
It's sad. It's sad because I just did my rewatch of Clone Wars and seeing Mandalore be prosperous. Yeah, they had their issues, but prosperous, peaceful, and to now seeing it in the Mandalorian,
It was a utopia.
yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
And the scenery is crazy. They show you everything. They show you the fields of like glass and all that. And then they show you the dome. The dome that has just been wrecked in the background at this beginning scene. And you can tell
Yeah.
that this is what the city was. And it is just it's heartbreaking. Like even as a non-Mandalorian, just normal viewer who just like Star Wars, you can feel this. You can feel this.
I wonder if Din feels anything like looking at Mandalore like that because he's never been to Mandalore. He's never seen it in its glory, it's in its heyday, you know. But they have another shot with Bo, and she's looking at it, and with her, like they show a close up of her face, and she just looks just almost distraught. Like that was her home. That was her literal home. Her sister was there, her father, all the people she knew, gone.
Yeah, and for Din, I think he looks back and he sees what could have been for him. I feel like he definitely the way he takes the creed so seriously. I believe he definitely feels some type of way about it.
Oh, for sure, but it just definitely doesn't hit the same for him
No,
as it
no, no.
does to Bo.
It happened under her rule. Like it happened
Yeah,
under her watch, basically. Like her whole culture was destroyed in front of her eyes.
I wonder how many Mandalorians are left. Like, I know we got that shot like in the first episode of the season with like a bunch of those NPC Mandalorians, but like, I wonder how many actually are alive.
It's got to be under 1,000. I feel the way
That's
that
what I think too.
it's been so tough for Din to even find one when he
I
needs
could see
like
there only being a couple hundred.
yeah. So we land on the planet and Din tries to kick R5 out of the ship to go get some atmosphere readings to see if the air is even breathable. And this
Yeah,
droid
he wants
again,
nothing to do with that.
this droid again just does not want to do his job, and
So
he,
stubborn.
yeah, no, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to get broken. You know, I can't really can't blame him.
And he can't even do his job right because he goes out there and then immediately Din loses communication with him. And then he's got to go out there anyway.
Yeah,
Not even knowing if the atmosphere is safe, which was the one job that this astromech had.
yeah, and I'm glad they showed this, but they didn't. He said he's gonna pressurize his helmet and Grogu go get in your pod and everything for continuity reasons. I'm glad that they at least like threw this in that like, the atmosphere could not be safe, so be prepared.
Yeah,
And
but
he leaves
obviously they
the
find out that it
he
is in fact safe.
yeah, so he leaves the ship to go find R5. And do you remember again the name of these trolls? Because I know this is the name of them at this point.
Oh, I had it earlier. Let me try to find it. They are
Argonians,
called
Alamites, Alamites.
Alamites. That's what it is.
Yep.
Yep, the
So they used to live
shaggy
in the
club wielding dudes.
yeah. These Alamites, they're like trolls that like want to eat people or whatever, and they kind of like hide in the shadows and try to jump you. They used to live in the wastelands of Mandalore, because I guess there was wastelands. I think we've seen this in the Clone Wars where Kenobi leaves Mandalore, um, and he tries to go do. I don't remember the plot of this episode, but there is
No,
some
I
wastelands
know
to
what you're
Mandalore.
talking about.
Yeah. And there
I think
was.
that was the one where he gets sent to Concordia.
You think so? I think
I
Duchess
think
was
so.
in the episode, but he was going to do something in like to try to keep the peace or something. But he like takes a speeder bike and like Duchess tries
Yeah,
to
that was
come with
on
him and she.
Concordia.
Okay, so that was Concordia.
Yeah, that was on Concordia. I remember because he was infiltrating the Death Watch's camp.
Okay, so I don't think we've
Um,
ever seen the wastelands of Mandalore itself, but this is where
Not even the
these.
wastelands. Like, I mean, this is the city, just living underneath it.
Yeah, no. This is Bo says later that they used to live in the wastelands of Mandalore, but now that the entire
Mm.
planet is a wasteland, it makes sense that they have moved in to what used to be the city.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the trolls, Alamites, that's what they are. There's like 3 of them waiting for Din when he goes to try to save R5. And there's a fight where he pulls out the Darksaber, and again we see how trash Din is with this thing.
He can't even lift this thing. He's a scrub, really. He's a
Complete come up.
scrub at wielding the Darksaber.
Yep.
This is your champion, the man who defeated Moff Gideon for the Darksaber.
Well,
He's not good with it.
he's nice with a lot of things, but the Darksaber, no, he fights it, and I don't know. I know there's some lore explanation for this, but I don't know exactly what stops him from being able to use this thing proficiently.
Skill.
Skill, yeah, basically skill. It has to be skill at this point.
You're trash, good.
But he manages to beat them, and he throws them all off a cliff. And you see what I don't know if it's part of the city that's shifted underground after the bombing, or an underground section of the city itself. But we get a crazy shot of this destroyed city that
I
Din is
think
about to
that's
go
just
into.
Mandalore.
I think
I
that
think
it's
that's
got to
just
be
the
an
city.
underground
Like, because
section
if you
of it.
remember, no, but if you remember from Clone Wars, like I feel like the city just dropped. Like you could see, like it was. I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like Coruscant. Like it
Yeah.
feels like Coruscant in
Yep.
there with the way it's built and the different layers and stuff. But it also kind of feels really like it's underground, but I can't tell. I can't tell.
My theory would be that it dropped underground with all the destruction and everything, because it would have been leveled otherwise.
Well,
Unless,
if it dropped, how was the sewer system or whatever that the tunnels down there still intact?
okay, no, you're right. You're right. Um, Probably an underground section of Mandalore, because it's such a developed city, but it definitely has elements of like Coruscant into it, and like like almost utopia. It was definitely a utopia at some point,
Yeah.
and it's just destroyed. And I don't know if this is, it probably is just from neglect at this point, if it was the underground section, because of earthquakes or something from after the bombs or something, because it was underground. It definitely didn't get bombed like that if it is an underground section.
Yeah, no, because I think they walked into like a cave or whatever, and then it like brought him to it. I don't even. It's confusing. I wish I knew exactly what it all looked like. Like a map. Give me a map.
Yeah, so Din sees that. He brings back R5. They get the readings that the atmosphere is safe and that everyone was lying and nobody's ever checked on this planet and all that. And that Din is pretty much the bravest Mandalorian there's been.
Yeah, yeah, ballsy, very ballsy.
So
Um,
he then takes Grogu out of the ship, and they go into this immediately, and they drop, and you get some crazy scenery of this city as you're dropping level by level, and it is
the camera shot of that was so cool.
so good.
Like just following them as they like not moving, it just drops with them, and you see them going through like, the bridges will be in front of them, and yeah, that was just a sick scene.
Peak Star Wars is like stuff like this, the lore, the after effects of what comes in the timeline. So they drop into this, and they know that they have to go lower to reach the mines of Mandalore, because this is ancient. So if they've built over all of this, it's got to be really deep in there.
It
And
is.
yeah, they start going through the sewers, and we had a shot of this like little dragon, almost dragon thing.
It's
So a
like a
little,
dragon dog.
yeah,
I don't even know what to
it's a little
describe it.
foreshadowing for what comes later. But we don't have a name for this thing, but I want to know so badly. So if you know,
Yeah, I
add us on
tried.
Twitter,
Tried
TikTok,
looking it up.
whatever. Leave it in a comment or something.
If you know, if you don't, stay away.
Yeah, so we get that, and we keep going, and Din finds this old helmet of a Mandalorian in the dirt, and it looks like there's no glass left in the helmet as he's scraping it off and picking it up. And then he gets jumped. There's this giant robot waiting in the dirt for him, and it
I don't
just
know what the hell this thing is. Like,
no, we get no explanation on this either.
I have never seen this before. I can say that I feel like I might have seen like the dog dragon things, but these I don't even know what this is. I can't even tell if it's an actual species of something or it's a droid.
Even the dog dragon, I don't know if you've seen that, but how you would have seen that before. We get a lot of
I don't know. It
stuff
just
we've
looks
never seen
familiar.
before. Um, this robot scoops Din up and injects something into his neck in like 2 seconds. He scoops him up, and it's so efficient. Like he was waiting there for like weeks or something. He scoops him up, and he drugs Din, and takes him away. And Grogu is sitting there in his pod watching this all happen. This droid takes Din and brings him to like a lair, and then he hops out of this like crab robot thing, and I believe this thing is a callback to like General Grievous. And from what I've seen,
I was thinking about him the whole time.
Yeah, from what I've seen and stuff, there's like voice lines of Grievous like hidden in between these things, like chirps and stuff that it's like doing while it's walking around and stuff. Like even the way it walks is like General Grievous like. So I think it's got some inspiration there from that. But basically, we get
General Grievous on drugs.
General Grievous on ketamine. So we get Rotisserie Mando here. He throws him on a like a metal grate and throws him in there and drugs him even more.
His ass.
And yeah, so he gets tossed on there, and then Grogu, who watched this, follows them all the way there and somehow gets undetected, walks right up to the cage and tries to like force unlock it or whatever, like take it off. And as soon as the cage shifts, the robot, like obviously there's something in this robot, like a
it's
organism.
Just the eye. You can just see the eye.
Yeah,
which is
later
like Grievous, because all you could see was his eyes too.
Yeah, and later you get the organism itself like crawling out of this thing to like go back to another part of it, but it's some like organism that is somehow able to build like these robot exoskeletons and stuff. It's like very intelligent, but at the same time like very primitive. It's so weird how Star Wars does this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but it was sick. It was sick.
It was sick. So Grogu runs up to this the robot organism, gets word or like hears him, and he starts doing flips, like 360s.
Oh yeah,
everything to get back in his pod, and Din goes, "Find Bo-Katan," and then passes out because he's drugged. And Grogu, we get a crazy chase scheme where it's just like a POV of Grogu the entire time.
Yeah, like was it a behind POV or was it a front POV? I can't both. I can't remember.
Got kind of both. At some points it was POV.
Well, he was zooming through those caves.
Yeah, and then that dragon dog we saw earlier tries to eat him and chases him all the way back, and he runs into a troll too, and he pieces this troll by force throwing him outside the cave.
That was funny as hell. The cut, you don't even see him do it. It just like it just cuts to all of a sudden the Alamite getting flung outside of the cave.
Yeah, and then he hops in the ship, and the dragon dog catches up with him and starts attacking the ship. So R5, being the coward he is, just takes off right away. And they go to Bo, and this scene I had looked over this the first time that we had seen it. Bo is about to piece up Din if it was Din.
I noticed it the first time I watched it, and I was like, why is she gonna piece him up? Why is she so hostile? And then she sees that it's just Grogu and immediately changes tune, and she's like, show me.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go? After she was about to kill him, she's like, I'm gonna get rid of him once and for all. Like, what? This guy who's helped you, and he's so dedicated to who he is and what he does, and he's wholesome. Din is the most wholesome character in Star Wars, almost.
I wonder what it would have been like if it was Din that showed up. And I wonder if she would have actually gone through with scrapping it. Because after she realizes it's Grogu, she changes her tune, and the rest of the episode is just like a great person. Like, she bonds. The Grogu and her bonding that we got in this episode was not what I thought I wanted, but is in fact what I wanted.
Yeah, so Grogu shows up and he goes blah 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 blah, whatever Grogu does. And she's like, "Oh, word." So we go to Mandalore, and she jumps in her ship, which is honestly sick as hell. this is probably one of the coolest ships I've seen. You know, it's like a
Her,
pure
her ship's a lot bigger.
her ship's pure
Din's.
Mandalorian. It's what we see. We've seen these in the Clone Wars before. They're like kind of they got these two wings that like kind of come down, and they're like starfighters, but they're like Mandalorian starfighters. We can't really describe it too much like with words, but
Yeah,
it's a very Mandalorian ship, modern Mandalorian ship, because we've seen the last episode we couldn't think of the ship's name, and I had looked it up again. I can't remember it
Did you
again.
find it?
And I can't remember it again. I had looked it
Oh.
up. Yeah, so Din's is like an ancient Mandalorian ship that somehow had like survived all of this. But Bo's is modern.
Mando's ship looks like a Naboo starfighter.
No, that's what it is. That's what his new ship is. But his season 1 and season 2 ship. I want to remember this so bad. God, this was literally like one of the front running things for the Mandalorian for so long. Whatever. So Bo takes her ship and she goes to Mandalore with Grogu, and they go down into the mines. Like you get like the same shot of Grogu and Bo dropping down as Mando and Bo got, and they go back through the sewers, and they come across like this glassed over top, but Bo can tell it's a trap by these like Alamite troll things that just want to eat them. So she shoots the top of this and has them drop down.
She goes crazy on that. Like at it, like
yeah,
she just sits there, looks at it, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom.
We see how much better Bo is at fighting other than gunslinging than Din.
Oh, she's a badass.
Yeah,
she's a straight badass.
She's so surgical with everything compared to Din. Din's got the gunslinger. You know, he's got that Western feel to him all around. But Bo is just completely badass. Like, there's no describing the way she fights. It's just whatever gets the job done, and it's quick, it's efficient. And so she pieces these three. We get visual proof that she pieces these trolls much easier than Din
she
would've.
shanks them. She shanks them, like just stabs in the throat, like the neck, kills them. They don't she don't hold back.
So then they catch up to where this robot's lair is, and from here, I forget how this goes. For some of it, I know she pieces this robot to the point where the organism, like what we've been looking at this entire time, crawls out of that to the giant robot.
Yeah, and then so she has to fight like both versions of this.
Yeah. So she saves Din basically, and then we get a cool scene by a campfire of Bo making this soup that like all Mandalorians have eaten or whatever, and she's telling Din how much he's missed out on, like from Mandalorian culture, pretty much, as he drinks the soup.
It's almost like he's Mandalorian in name only, because like he's never even been to Mandalore. Like this is the first time, but he never got to experience it as its whole. Like
as a creed, like as the cult is, I think the armor, maybe, we don't know much about the armor, is the only one who really knows about Mandalore's backstory. She's really just brainwashing people into joining the cult at this point.
Pretty much.
Because these guys that we saw at the beginning of last episode, they can't know too much about the history of Mandalore. I don't know where all these dudes came from, but they can't know anything, because it was just Vizsla and Din left after everything had went down at the original Creed on Navarro. And yeah, they were the only ones left.
Vizsla. Which one's Vizsla?
Vizsla's the one with the Gatling minigun thing. The one who
that's Vizsla?
In Book of Boba, Mando season 2.5, as we keep calling it, he wanted to fight Din for the Darksaber. You remember that?
Okay, I can't remember what his name was. So I think of Vizsla, I
Yeah,
think of like
Pre-Vizsla, right?
pre-Vizsla and Clan Vizsla.
He is a descendant of them, but he's like the newest descendant of them. So he is the Vizsla clan, the only descendant left of the Vizsla clan.
Huh.
So it's weird.
He
I
still
feel
got
like
beef with Mando.
I feel like he'd have more screen time at this point, but we're
I feel like we'll see him more.
hopefully
We'll
we'll
see him
get.
later.
Yeah, he kind of just shows up whenever he sticks around the Creed. He's really true to hanging around there. I guess they don't let him out much.
No, he's whipped by the um what's her name?
The armor.
The armor.
Yeah, so we get that scene there by the campfire, and then Bo says she will take Din to the living waters so that he can finally get over this or whatever. She does not care about ancient Mandalorian culture at all. At all.
And this scene really just makes her initial reaction to Din's ship showing up, that she was going to end this, and that what is me, wanting to be alone? How does that not, do you not understand it? Like, she's about to piece him up. And then now here she is offering to help him
Yes,
twice.
I think she sees how dedicated Din is, and she's having kind of a change of heart to Din. I don't know why she wouldn't at first. Din is so genuine, but she sees him for who he is and how much he needs this, basically. So she brings him down there after everything that's happened, and we get the first cut to the mines as we're walking through. And we see the living waters, like the area of the living waters, and it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, no, it's dark and kind of creepy, but also like beautiful in like its own way.
Yeah, exactly. And as Din goes silent as soon as he sees the living waters, and Bo goes over to some tablet that's left over. This is probably like the only thing left of like ancient Mandalorian culture at this point. I think we've seen
Yeah.
that's intact. And she starts reading it, and this is all very on the nose right here. She talks about how this was the ancient den of the mythosaur, and she goes into a little bit of her past as a noble and how she was like baptized here pretty much as a child for show.
She's part of the royal family.
Yeah, royal family, and it was all like a PR stunt almost for her to do it.
Yeah, and she went into detail, like kind of about her dad, which I hadn't remembered hearing anything about her dad. I was actually hoping that she would talk about Satine,
Yeah,
but
no,
she didn't
that
mention
would have been great.
Satine once, and I was a little disappointed. For those who don't know, Satine is Bo's sister, who was the leader of Mandalore back during the Clone Wars.
Pretty major Clone Wars character during the Mandalore arc during the Clone Wars. Not the Siege of Mandalore at the end of season 7, but when you see it as a pacifist planet, she is leading the charge on that.
Yeah. It's funny when she was talking about her dad, and how he had died and all that. He goes through all this, kind of sad stuff, and all Din can say is, "This is the way." That's all he can say after that. And it was such an awkward thing to say after someone tells you that, like, their dad died and family's dead. This is the way.
That is his way of like giving respect, though. That is all he knows. This is the way.
This is the way.
So she's reading off this tablet of like ancient Mandalorian culture, basically on the nose mythosaur reference, and Din starts saying the creed as he walks into the water. He strips down, he takes off his his jetpack and all his weapons and his cape.
Yeah, strip down is a broad term. He didn't really take
No,
off anything.
he took off
except for
anything that was not
his
waterproof, I
weapons and
guess.
jetpack. He didn't. Apparently, Beskar is waterproof.
Yeah, yeah.
I every all you know every he didn't get wet. Everything else was fine, but not the jetpack.
Yeah, so he's talking about that and you see Bo kind of look at him and so we're back. Another cut. So Din was taking off all of his stuff as Bo was describing the ancient plate that was there. And Din starts saying the creed of the Mandalore as you're baptized in the way of the Mandalore as you walk into the waters. And you can see Bo and her reaction to this and how she really responds to the dedication of Din pretty much and how she gets a reflection of who she was and really how much this means to somebody else who where this didn't mean much to her as a royal kid who was kind of just doing this for show.
Yeah, I think this is where she really started to respect Mando,
Yeah,
um, and what he stands for. And I mean, him doing it for a completely different reason than how she did it when she was younger. I think it kind of speaks to her, gives her a better understanding of not only what Din's doing, but like the culture and creed as a whole.
absolutely, absolutely. And as Din's reciting the Creed of Mandalore and walking through the water, he drops. Um, the weight of his Beskar is too much. This thing is deep, way deeper than they had thought. Um, due to what Bo describes later as seismic activity, they had opened the crater that can only be believed to be what was under what they had built around the living waters. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, to it was shallow had as they had built it, but I guess there was a cavern under it.
there had to have been. There had to have been because if she said it was as shallow as is what she had said, then I don't know how the hell um, the beast could be living down there.
Yeah, so Bo dives after Din when he drops, and she boosts down there and she finds Din at the bottom of this cavern and starts to pull him up. And we get a shot of what we've been waiting for since the beginning of the series, what has been foreshadowed this entire time. We get a shot of the mythosaur that has been down here dormant, lying. Um, I've seen some talk that maybe Din is what awoke this thing, like maybe he was sleeping the whole time. But Din being what he's accomplished as a Mandalorian thus far, and all of that, that it recognized him as he had dropped into the water.
Did it recognize him or did it recognize Bo?
That's the question, isn't it? I think that's what this season is setting up is Bo's claim versus Din's claim.
Yeah, I'm. Mm, that's going to be interesting how they explore that later in the season.
I think so because it
I
it
feel like that's
can.
what it's going to come down to.
I think it either goes one of maybe three ways. I think it goes Bo trains Din to become the true ruler of Mandalore and everything, and helps him tame this beast almost because that's what is described to have happened in the past. Is they ride the mythosaur and they have the dark saber, and that is what makes you the ruler of Mandalore. So it either goes she trains Din to be actually good with this dark saber because Bo is nice with this dark saber, Din is not.
Bo's dirty.
Yeah. So it either goes that way, it goes the way where Bo refutes his claim and fights against it because she has seen the mythosaur and Din was knocked out. But we
Yeah,
get
she really bails him out there.
yeah, she bails him out. We get the giant size of this mythosaur and seeing like the general outline of what it is and what we've been described to it, but you just know this thing is much bigger than we're even seeing right now. It is terrifying.
I wonder if we'll see it again.
Oh, you know we're
I
gonna see this thing again. We're gonna see this thing again, and we're gonna see the actual scale of it. They're
I
definitely
hope
coming
so.
back to this.
I really hope so.
This is the key to everything with moving this season along. I mean, I don't want to get into the next episode, but from what we've seen before and everything, we always get shots of when we're by the Creed, the cult, basically. We get shots of this like ancient metal thing that is the mythosaur's head, basically.
Yeah.
And it is just foreshadowed, and it would be a crime not to continue this.
I hope he rides it. I hope he's able to like just tame it and ride it.
That would make him the Mandalore. Because he has the dark saber.
OG Mandalorian. He'd be the best. I still think Bo's gonna piece him up though.
Yeah, so it's either going one of 2 or 3 ways, and that's probably how it's gonna happen. So, she pulls him out of the water, and it is episode end. So, like, the mythosaur doesn't attack them. It kind of
stares at him,
observes them. It's definitely sentient in some way. It's not just like a instinctual creature, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's got some.
Well, I think it's because it knows one of them is the true ruler of Mandalore.
Yeah, it's got some sort of Force mythic connection, something, and we're gonna probably expand on that because it would have just attacked him otherwise. Like every big creature in Star Wars attacks everybody that's not connected some way into the bigger picture. So that's episode end, and that's where we leave off. And going from there, after everything we've talked about, how are you feeling about this episode?
It's still such a good episode. I mean, it has everything that I think I want in Mandalorian.
Yep.
And actually, when I first watched this episode, I went in and looked at like some like info about it, and I realized that aside from Grogu and Pedro Pascal, there's only one other main cast member, and it is Bo-Katan.
Yo, bro, I hate to.
And I actually think I might have mentioned this last episode, but
yep.
I mean, I definitely did. But still, it's just the more Bo-Katan content, please. Anything with her in it is fantastic.
If you follow our TikTok, you would know that all of our content is just exposing Logan as a simp at this point.
Can you blame me? I know we have some viewers out there who would agree.
Probably 95% of them, but yeah. So after watching this episode, I think I'm gonna just stay the same where I was because there's a couple things that could have been better in this episode, but overall, how deep this dives into building on Mandalorian culture and basically what this show is, it does a fantastic job of really getting to where we want to be.
Yeah, no, great episode. It just makes me even more excited for next week's.
Absolutely. And I think this is where we should leave this one off. This is a very long episode.
Yeah, this one's very long.
Yeah.
Has a lot of cuts.
A lot of cuts and edits, but we're here. We made it.
You booing.
So I'm Dylan. I'm here with Logan. I would like to thank you all for watching. And
yeah,
this is the Juice Bros, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, and before we go, give us a follow on the Juice Bros YT, Twitter and TikTok, and then you can follow us on our YouTube page, the Juice Bros.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Have a great day, guys.
We'll be back next week.